Chris Yandeck, CYInterview, covering Las Vegas and the world. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe button below to subscribe to everything we have going on in CYInterview. Today, we're going to have a conversation about the state of the culture, world, and entrepreneurship. Here today with us is, we welcome back the social mayor of Miami, Real Housewives of Miami star, entrepreneur, philanthropist, author, Leah Black is back with us. Leah, it's so great to see you from the great city of Miami. How are you?
Good to see you.
Always great to see you. And of course, we're here with CYInterview sponsor, the founder of Epic Financial Strategies LLC, author of the new book, Surviving Success, and founder of his own youth basketball league, Epic Elite AAU, Mr. Rob Gill. Rob, thanks for being with us on CYInterview today.
Once again, honored, Chris. This has been an unbelievable journey. I like how you said subscribe. You know, if you look at Bradley and those other folks, they'll say like, share, and subscribe.
Gotcha. Well, we got to like, share, and subscribe this for sure. So thank you, Rob. I really appreciate that. So, Leah, I just wanted to start with you, you know, as being the social mayor of Miami and accomplished entrepreneur, philanthropist, what's new in your life? And what are your thoughts on where we are in the state of the world right now?
What's new for me, I spend a lot of time advocating for political candidates that I think are up to good things. And I work full-time still with my skincare company. And then I'm helping my son sort of start his career in real estate and affordable housing and stuff like that. So I'm always busy. And I got 4 dogs, of which 2 of them are sitting right here on top of me. So that's what's going on here.
Leah, I just wanted to, for Rob's overview, you've had a very long, accomplished journey. I think that you ended up selling a skincare business in the 80s, but you've continued to be in skincare after that, correct?
I did. And then I went back to work again and started another skincare company. I don't even know how many years ago, I guess 15 or something, 10, 15. What happened, you know, my son, when he was little, I didn't want to be working all the time because at that time, the world was different. You had to travel a lot. I mean, I did a couple 100,000 miles a year traveling, you know, and then I got married and then I had my kid. It was just too much. So I sold that company. But then once my kids started going to school, I started up again because I just liked the skincare business and I like making people look pretty.
Rob, I'm sure you have some questions for Leah, so I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, I want to look pretty. If you got some skincare stuff, I could really use some new stuff. But Leah, listen, I love entrepreneurs. You know, I was born in 1970, so in the 80s when I was in high school, and I think it's today in the business I'm in, you know, I remember travel was everything. Like you could never have said this would be the world. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wow, I'm on with Chris and Leah, having a conversation that somebody in like Nebraska could hear, or California or Alaska or Maine, and impact their life. You know, we were all subjected to the news media outlets as well as TV. The world that we have now allows humans to connect in a way that never was possible. And I think it's unbelievable. You know, Chris is the connective tissue between us and we're having a conversation for 20 minutes. And how cool is that? Right. So, when you talk about your business, I'm interested that you founded the business in the 80s, right? That's what I think I heard.
First time.
Traveled all over the place. Yeah. What was that like as being an entrepreneur? Did you have a business coach? Did you just learn on the go? Was it a combination of both? And what made you want to, as a woman in the early 80s, right? What made you want to, and I know that was when, you know, things started changing, but what made you want to open up your own business and put your flag in the ground and say, as Jay Bilstein likes to say, if it is to be, it's up to me?
Well, I think, you know, when you work for other people, you determine in life kind of early if you're the type of person that can work 9 to 5 and work for other people, or if you're kind of the person that needs to go out and be independent and earn what you're worth rather than what someone's willing to pay you. And I just thought, you know, this is something I can do and I'm going to do it for myself because I can move at a faster pace. I can make things happen faster or better. And I just had a lot of confidence that I could do it. Before that, I was a teacher at Fred Astaire, and I basically worked for myself there. I was the only dancer there that booked my own clients, recruited my own clients, made my own schedule. So I've always been the person that really didn't fit inside the, you know, 9 to 5 corporate environment. So it just wouldn't work for me. I felt claustrophobic. So I just did it on my own.
And you know, you may, by the way, the way that sounded, it sounded so easy. Can you
Yeah.
talk about the trials, tribulations, and challenges for like somebody that's watching right now that's about to step into that has the mindset, hasn't put the action behind it yet, but they're ready to go. For me, obstacles are gifts, but it took me a long time to learn that. How were you able to handle or survive some of the challenges that came your way early on?
Well, I think when you start out, you have to know what you don't know. And that's where people get into trouble. If you try to do something you don't know about or aren't good at, you're going to wind up in trouble. So I always try to look to people that knew more than me and that were smarter than me and try to recruit them to help me and then make sure they were rewarded for it. And I always kept my overhead extremely low when people were having big fancy buildings and driving big fancy cars. I kept my overhead low because I wanted to be able to make my decisions based on what was best for the customer and the company, not what I had to do to pay my rent on Friday.
Amazing.
So those things. And then also just committing yourself. Once you commit yourself to something, the universe just sort of has a way of lining up to support your commitment if you let it. And if you're looking for those opportunities. So once you jump in, I remember jumping in saying, this is what the skincare is going to look like. And this is what it's going to do for you when I didn't even have it yet, and pre-selling it, So I don't know, I guess just being creative and not taking anything personal. The minute you start taking it all personal, you're done,
But you know what? One more question, Chris. I apologize.
Take as many as you want, Rob.
You made a great point about not taking it personal and building that tough skin. And a lot of people, they don't know how to survive that first wave.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of great potential people fall short, 3 feet short of gold in those situations. Was there somebody that was a mentor for you? Was there books that you read? Like, where did that come from to be able to, overcome the personal stuff that, not taking offense to anything, especially if doors were shut because you were a woman? And I'm not saying that happened or not. I'm just floating that out there.
A lot of it is, you just can't let things get in your way. I used to run seminars, for the people that would sell my product. And one of the things that I did was a whole session on what stops you. And you would go around the room and so many crazy things would stop people. Like, the person said no, or, I didn't know, I didn't have the confidence, or I didn't know the information, or I got nervous, or I'm shy. All the things that stop people in the world, if you go around the room when you see, everybody's got those things. So when you just acknowledge that, listen, everybody's got something that stops them. So you just have to plow through it. And that's really what I've done. I've plowed through it.
Back to you, brother Chris. Amazing.
What you also have to realize, Rob, is for 20 years, she ran the greatest fundraiser gala with the biggest celebrities in the world. Everybody from Aretha Franklin to Gloria Estefan to Dionne Warwick, Natalie Cole, among others. Leah, let me just ask you now, so we're having this great conversation. I know Rob will appreciate this. Like, what do you say to people who want to be their own boss? Like, what is your advice to them, just generically?
You have to want to do it for the right reasons. If you're doing it because you just don't want to be told what to do, or you want to make your own hours and you're, too good to work for somebody, that's the wrong reason. It has to be the right reason. And the right reason has to be that you are willing to do what it takes to make it happen. And that is everything from working 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, to getting on a plane when you don't want to standing up and webinars when you've got fever or a cold, to recruiting people that are smarter than you, to not taking no for an answer, for putting yourself out there, making commitments that you absolutely have to live up to. So therefore you just do it. It's just a mindset. And if you aren't willing to commit yourself and dig in, and put yourself in a position, like I was always the person that dug the hole, jumped in the middle of it, and had to plow myself out. I was always that person, if I make my life too easy, I'm not going to get where I want to be. So I'm going to just make it where I have to do this, and just put yourself in a situation where failure is just not an option. And that's the key, I think, to anybody at anything in life, whether it's personal relationships or raising kids, or you just have to put yourself in the position and be prepared to do what it takes to make it happen. And like I said, you just can't let things stop you and take things personally, because you're going to sit around and suck your thumb all day and whine and cry about somebody that offended you or didn't like what you had to say, or, who cares what these people think? Everybody's got an opinion. I try to surround myself with the people that I think have opinions that are worthy of my time. And I kind of ignore the chatter.
Yeah,
Leah
go ahead, Rob.
Leah Black is dropping bombs. Word to your mom. Here's my question, Leah. You sell the business in the 80s. Did you have a plan to go do something different as you were doing it? Or was it, let me pause and raise the kids?
Not work. My plan was to not work for a while, and I got married and in 1994. So I decided I'm not going to work for a while because I'm going to get married. I'm going to commit myself to getting married. And then I got bored and I started the charity. And then I did that for 25 something years. I decided, I have these skills. I know how to raise money. I know how to make money. I know how to enroll people. I know how to motivate people. Why am I just sitting around this house, doing nothing? My husband's working all the time anyway. So I started a charity in my backyard. And it went from my backyard to, ballrooms in the best hotels and top talent. My first big break in the charity was when Barry Gibb performed in my ballroom at my house. And that opened the door for me to be able to get other big celebrities. And I mean, I was able to get them all. And I only had to pay over the years for two of them. I had, Little Wayne and Rick Ross and Natalie Cole and Patti LaBelle and Queen Latifah, Tony Bennett. I only had to pay for two of those talents over the year because I convinced Dionne Warwick. She was amazing because she kind of believes the same way I do as far as helping these kids in the school that she supports in her area. So I just had to use my skills of how to enroll people in a greater cause to get them to see the vision, to get them to perform for me for free. That was the hardest part of my job. That and selling tickets to people that would be willing to spend more money on their shoes than a ticket and ask for a discount.
Yeah, it's amazing. You get these celebrities and top line performers that somewhere along their life, things are given to them for free. And I think if it's the right cause and it hits their heart, sustainable giving to make the world a better place, then that's why I'm assuming you were able to tap into that, based on your journey and your knowledge. And thank you for sharing all that. Chris, back to you, brother.
Rob, she's so humble. She had Barack Obama in her home when he was running for president the first time for a fundraiser.
How much was it a plate?
How much what?
Was it a plate for the fundraiser?
Oh no! What it was is he came here and it was just a cocktail hour fundraiser. Okay. We raised several $100,000, and I remember at the time trying to get the photographer from the Herald to come, and he wanted to charge me, and I go, "Are you kidding me? This guy's going to be president of the United States." Well, he was just a senator at the time. No one even knew who he was. So I talked him into coming. I said, "You're going to come for free. And then when he's president, you're going to sell the pictures." And he just laughed at me, but he came because I had given him business and referred him over the years. He wound up making so much money on selling those pictures because Barack Obama was so generous. He went around and took pictures with almost everyone in the ballroom, 100 and so people, plus the staff, plus the chefs, everybody took pictures with everybody. And it was just an amazing time. And he didn't even become president.
Can I ask a question about your Barack experience? And I think you're probably in tune with energy and frequency and all the things that really elevate people. How was his personal, how was he energetically or frequency wise, the connective tissue outside of the scope of the material side? How did he resonate? I sense his charisma is insane, but how was he just in talking with? I'm always curious about that.
He is very relatable, very give you a hug, very humble, and he exuded like a happy warrior type of energy. It wasn't like this negative, we're going to tear people down and we're going to do things this way and we're going to do that. Yeah. He was very we're going to change the world and it's going to be better for everybody and everybody's got to be part of this. It was just he's very inspiring. Good. And it's sincere. Just who he is. It's not an act that he puts on. You know how you can tell when people are inauthentic. He's very authentic, and he deserved it. He deserved to get where he did.
Yeah, and even where he is now.
Rob, why don't you tell Leah? I was telling Leah before you came on about your book, Surviving Success. I'm going to send her along the link so she can read it. Why don't you tell her about Surviving Success?
I will. Thank you, Chris. So Leah, I grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey. youngest of four. My dad was a police officer, worked a couple of jobs. 34 first cousins. My dad's side of the family, there was alcohol. My mom's was drugs. And I'm a recovering alcoholic since July 7th, 1996, around the time I was being trained and mentored by Jay Bildstein. And my family ran out of money on the 20th of every month. And as a result of that, every single fight in our house or every point of contention, believe it or not, was about money. My parents loved me in any way they were able to understand love, as far as like, you know, they weren't college educated. They got married at a young age. And what I remember is the financial insecurity was so rampant, even in my neighborhood. And then when people did have success, they were quote unquote bad. And, you know, they should help us out kind of stuff. So my mindset around money was very destructive. It was very insecure, and it was, I'll never have, and it was a half glass full mindset. When I got sober, I had the gift of two lives, one living in self-imprisonment from drugs and alcohol, the other one living in, you know, turn your will over to God, and the world just changes. And it's about perspective. It's about energy. It's about all these different things. And the 12 steps is always a direct path to your higher power. That's been my story. So as a result of it, I started working on Wall Street, making $400 a day, trained by Jay. And, you know, I went from making $12,000 to $28,000 to $42,000 to $100,000 to $300,000 to over $1 million within like an 8-9 year period. I stayed sober. However, I didn't, and I'm learning this now, 53, I didn't deal with my codependency issues. And as a result of it, when financial success came my way, and the book is called Surviving Success, when financial success when financial success came my way on a subconscious level, I couldn't handle it. And I would miss meetings. I bought a boxing promotional company. I still worked with our clients. That didn't change, but building the business and, you know, just feeling like I didn't deserve it was a real thing. And I had a business disruption back in 2012, which brought me back to Jay. And it lasted for 2 years. But during that time, I remember one night, 1 hour, I felt my wife and children are better off with me if I was to shuffle off this mortal coil, take this $15 million death benefit, because I felt like I was going to go out of business. What's that?
That's an unbelievable right there. Just that. Wow.
Yeah, I felt that way. And Jay walked by my room in my office, and he showed me that whatever my mind was telling me wasn't true. You know, so, and Jay, please, if you're listening, brother, I love you. And what happened there is I began the journey that led to a massive shift in my business, created new relationships along the way. I went to the Tony Robbins ecosystem for about 5 or 6 years. I did about 25, 30 of his events. I became a platinum partner, and I met a lot of other people outside of that. And I began to have proximity with folks that have been there, done that, my kind of story plus. And like you said about your stuff in the 80s, I began to learn and see what I didn't see and know what I didn't know. And as a result of it, the book, I talk about that journey in here, but I talk about it from the lens of my experience, but how to do proper financial planning. So for example, you want to make sure no matter where you are, that your accountant is on the same page with your trust officer, insurance agent, fiduciary. Even if you can't afford a family office, what does a fractional family office look like? And if you can't do that, how can you create a pseudo fractional family office so all your planners are not on the page for their benefit, but for your benefit? So the book talks about that journey, talks about strategies. It goes into mindset, it goes into money, and then how you keep the money and create generational wealth.
Final thoughts on today's CYInterview, Rob?
I've always heard about Leah Black from you and Jay, and I couldn't believe I was on with it today. I was super honored, super grateful, and thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So for CYInterview sponsor Rob Gill and Real Housewives of Miami star, social media of Miami, Leah Black, thanks for being on the conversation, Rob. And